Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to each one of you watching this video. Welcome and welcome back to the channel. My name is Mboyi. I am a nurse. I practice adult nursing in the United Kingdom. I've been in the UK for less than a year, and in my time, I've realized that the United Kingdom government is actually in high demand for health professionals. Not only health professionals, but for now, we are focusing on health professionals. So in today's video, we are going to talk about how to migrate into the United Kingdom as a social worker. Great Britain has 4 countries, and these countries, in each country, there is a governing body that regulates social workers, and you can never be employed as a social worker if you are not registered with one of these bodies that I'm going to mention in this same video. And if you are registered in England, you will not be able to apply for a social worker position in Wales. But if you come from outside the UK, it's much easier for you to come and work in one country. But if you want to switch to another country, it will be easier because your information is already in the database of the government. So all applicants that apply from abroad to England, the information is stored in the database so much that if you are a student who have been trained in National Health Training College, which is NHTC in Lesotho, one applicant would have opened a door for all other applicants because the information would be stored in the database. So before you apply, before you can be registered as a social worker, all your qualifications from abroad have to be at par with United Kingdom safeguarding standards. So before you do anything, you have to apply to be registered as a social worker so that your qualification can match United Kingdom qualification. Either you have studied certificate in social work, diploma in social work, degree, PhD, all of those, they have to be evaluated before you can do anything. This is why each and every country has its own social services governing body. So if you want to work in England, you will apply for registration with Social Work England, and the information in the website have been updated on the 14th of December 2022. There has been a fresh update on what you have to do to be registered as an overseas applicant. So in each one of these social services governing bodies, there is a overseas or internationally trained applicants portion of the website. So once you click on the website, you go straight to overseas applicant process or internationally qualified social worker process. It's quite easy, straightforward of what you are required to submit for you to be registered. So with Wales, the governing body is Social Care Wales or Welsh Government. So in Social Care Wales, I'll put the website on the screen, and Welsh Government, I'll also put a website in the screen. So you will have to follow the process put on those websites. So Social Care Wales information has been updated just recently, which is on the 18th of July 2023. So there is an updated version of what you have to do as a social worker who has been trained outside the UK. And with the Welsh government, it has been updated on the 26th of June 2023. So you can see how often all these regulators update their information, because the world is changing. So that's why. And the third one is Scotland. And in Scotland, the governing body is called Scottish Social Services Council. And they also have their own process on what you have to do in the website. The last one is Northern Ireland, which is the Northern Ireland Social Care Council. And all these are social services governing bodies. And if I say social services, social workers know that it means you are regulated to protect people who lack capacity. And with social care, it's either elderly, people with mental health issues, people who are in prison, also with children, people with learning disability. So you can see there is a lot of roles that would have to be filled by social workers and other unskilled personnel who want to work under social services. So the process is quite similar for all of this. It's just that the fact that they are different bodies, you will have to directly apply with each. You cannot be able to apply as a social worker with Welsh government and with England at the same time. You choose one and apply. So if you are a social worker, you want to come into the UK and be registered as one of the social workers in the United Kingdom, you have to make sure that you choose the place of work. Like, you take your time to choose where you want to work. It's not like us as nurses. Nurses are regulated by one body throughout the UK, which is NMC, Nursing and Midwifery Council. All nurses are regulated by one body in all those four countries. So it's quite easy for us to switch jobs. If I want to move to Northern Ireland now, I can apply for a job and just move to that area. But for social workers, if you want to move from Northern Ireland to Wales, you will have to now apply from Northern Ireland Social Services Council to Welsh Government Social Services and be recognized as a social worker. So, as a process to do while you are still back home, you will not be able to apply for a job or for employment as a social worker before you are fully registered as a social worker. If you do that, it's considered as crime. Yes, so you have to make sure that you do not apply for a job before you are recognized as a social worker, unless if the type of a job role that you are applying for is not a social worker position. If it's maybe a carer in a care home, you are applying as a senior carer per se, you are not required to be registered as a social worker to apply for that role. But if you literally want to apply as a social worker, do not apply before you are fully registered. And with this process, before you apply, you have to make sure that your passport is valid. At least it has 3 months validity period before you can be fully registered. But that 3 months validity period is not ideal. I would say if you want to apply to work abroad, make sure that your passport is valid for at least 3 years, so that when you are offered a visa, you know that you are not going to be changing passports quite often. But it does not condone the fact that you can apply when your passport is valid within the 3 months of your application. And one other thing, you will have have an English proficiency certificate to prove that you can fully communicate in English fluently through speaking, writing, listening, and reading. So you can do this by evaluating your degree with NARIC, or you can do IELTS, English Proficiency Test. It is the best way to follow IELTS so that you can use the same English certificate when you apply for a visa. And they will also need your qualifications from the college or your university that you obtained your social worker certificate. And with this process, there is a scrutiny fee which is different for all for all four countries. Each council has its own amount, and the scrutiny fee is non-refundable, together with application fee. After your qualification has been scrutinized and they are happy that your qualification is at the same level as the United Kingdom standards, social service standards, you will not get that money back. You are now able to apply and pay application fee so that you will be recognized as a social worker. And after you have applied and you have been given a go ahead to practice as a social worker, you will have your own unique PIN number that will identify you, and you can be searched online on Google. And people, if they want to make sure that you are a social worker registered in the UK, they can just Google you on the register and find your name there. So once you are done with those, you will need to search for a job. And it's easy to search for a job because there are a lot of vacancies online for social services positions. And you can either use a recruitment agency or apply straight to the employer. I believe it's easier to use recruitment agencies, but it's also possible to apply directly from home in Africa or any other parts of the world and be able to be granted a position as a social worker. And then after you have been appointed as a social worker in a particular government institution or private institution, you will need a visa to practice in UK. So the type of a visa that you need is a health and care workers visa, and this visa is under we all. I think social workers are under shortage occupation list, so they will receive health and care worker visa, which has its own benefits. And most definitely, they will be looking for qualified and experienced social workers. But if you have just been you have been you have just come out of college, or you graduated a year ago, or you are soon to graduate, it does not block your way to come into the UK, because the experience they count even when you are still a student. So you can apply and show your credit hours, your practical sessions, all those. So don't be discouraged if you are soon to graduate. And for social workers, like I said, social workers work under social services, and social services is a body that protects the rights of the people who lack capacity, people who have mental illnesses, learning disability, children, people in prison. And before you you apply, they are going to do a criminal search on you. So when you apply, you will be asked to provide a police clearance from one of your countries, and they will also do their own search. So when you provide your police clearance, be as honest as you can. If you have been convicted before, disclose your conviction. There are types of convictions. I know social workers, you know more on this. And those that need to be disclosed, you need to. There are other protected convictions that you are not obliged to share, but there are those that are really needed by social services to know that you have been convicted before and you served your time. And there are other types of crimes that you will never ever be employed under social services if you have committed that type of a crime. I'm not going to mention those, but there is a list of types of crimes that you may not get job offers on social services if you have that under your name. So be as honest as you can, and you are good to go. And when you arrive in the UK, there is what we call DBS that will be done here. It's the same as police clearance that is done by the police here in the UK. So this is the process. It's as simple as that. Just follow the guidance in all the websites shared in this video. You will not go wrong. And for UK, I commend the UK. People in the United Kingdom can communicate. Like if you qualify, they will let you know that you qualified. If you do not qualify, they will just point blank say you are not qualified. So don't be afraid. Learn to research and then make sure that you you follow the proper route. This whole process, there is money, expenses incurred. So you have to make sure that before you apply, you have enough funds to support you throughout the process. And finally, the salary for social workers, it ranges between £27,000 as a newly qualified social worker, and between £27,000 and £40,000 per annum. So you can be around the continuum before those two figures. And if you are a lead practitioner, you are a highly qualified social worker, you can even get as far as £50,000 per year, and even more than that. So don't be discouraged. Push through, do your research, and make sure that if you really want to come to the UK, do not be discouraged. Follow your heart, follow the proper channels to apply, and you will definitely be in the UK. There has been an update by the government on the 17th of July 2023 that the prices for visa and health surcharge would be increasing because of the cost of living that has been increasing in the UK. I know most of the people have been discouraged by that update, but let me tell you, if you are discouraged today, what will happen tomorrow? Follow your heart. This is Boy Madidi. I am a nurse. I practice adult nursing in the UK. Please continue to subscribe, like the video, share, and I will see you in my next video. Bye bye.